Hello, everybody. We're tuning in with you here today on Moons of Ascension podcast. We are here with the energies of the new moon for May, and this is also the 6th dimensional moon influence. We are going to touch in a little bit today about the symbology and the working with the star calendar, and talking about equality today and the gate of truth. And today with me, I'm super excited to have these amazing power goddesses joining me today to help just bring some light, share some wisdom. And it's always so fun when we do these roundtables because we all hold so many clues and pieces to the puzzle. And when we drop in and have an opportunity to just chat a little bit about these topics and these influences, it's amazing what reveals itself as we're all in this ascension together. So I'm Jen Berryhill, and I am coming to you today from the land of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. And I've been working with the Star Knowledge teachings for about 12 years now. And it's just how I live my life. I've created this as my walk. So every moon cycle, I'm working in the energies of the symbols for the month and working with the virtues and the keys and working with the messages that come in through these influences that were brought in, as many of you know, by Chief Golden Light Eagle and all of those that supported these teachings coming forward from starting over 20 years ago. And Lelie was a really big part of that, pretty much from the beginning, working with Standing Elk and helping to interpret these symbols and working with these star teachings. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself next, Lelie, and then we'll just kind of go around, do a short intro, and then we'll dive right in for our topic today.
So my name is Lelie, and I have Earth Star Healing Center here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I've been part of Star Knowledge since the late 90s. I've kind of walked into it without knowing what it was all about and just continued the journey. And so it seems like since Eagle's passing that I'm becoming one of the historians. And so my job right now, which is 1111 and 111, is down the rabbit hole of the 1111. So I've been creating a website called knowledgefromthestars.com, and I just started a blog sharing my rabbit holes because this isn't just for me, this is for everyone. So thank you so much for having me be here today, and welcome, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you, Lelie. So great to have you with us today. I'm going to move on over and check in with you, Zoe Anna. If you could just pop in, say, hey, let us know a little bit about you.
Hey, I'm Zoe Anna. I'm tuning in from Sydney, Australia, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to be here. So I'm a healer, mind, body, spirit. I have a little small studio here in Sydney, and I was guided to the star knowledge from a messenger and then another messenger, and I followed the little pieces, the little clues, and then started doing some investigation. And on diving into the work, it just felt so familiar and very much like home. And a lot of the connections of things from the Pleiadians I'd had downloads. So I was like, oh yeah, this feels really, it just dropped in really easily. So yeah, that's a little bit about my journey. And then I was introduced to Jen with investigating with the book Soul Codes, and then asking permission to use one of the symbols. So that sort of took me down this path, and here I am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Let's have you pop in, Melanie. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember the first Star Knowledge conference, the date of it, but I think it was the 11-11-11 conference in Loveland. Wasn't that the 2011? Yeah. Anyways, I was introduced to, I knew that when I saw that symbols book, it was something that I needed to bring into my consciousness. And So I actually didn't have the money to buy it. I traded a crystal for that book, and Mary Lightweaver gave that book to me, granted me permission to have that book. She was like, I know you need that. So yeah, it's been such a beautiful unfolding ever since being with those star teachings. I'm here in Australia now, but I'm originally from the States. And yeah, right. I've just been, since, gosh, awakening in my consciousness, I was originally a somatic psychotherapist and a Reiki healer. And I had a private practice in San Francisco, but I got the call to go work more deeply with the land. So I've been working with the crystalline grid since 2017. I've been all over the planet, been to every chakra of the planet, and a lot of the minor chakras of the planet. And right now I'm doing a lot of work all along the center and east coast of Australia. So that's what I'm here and up to at the moment.
Awesome. Good to have you here with us.
Thanks.
And for our first time on the Moons of Ascension Roundtable, we have Soma joining us, Soma Arah. So I'd love for you to share about you and where you're coming in from.
Hi Jenny, hi everyone. I'm really looking forward to this. I love connecting with like-minded people on these interviews and Zooms and roundtables. I'm coming from Ireland. I moved over in December last year. Really wanted to get back to the land, back in touch with nature. I've been living in concrete in the UK for about 4 years. So in December last year, I moved back to Ireland. And I've kind of been processing downloads, upgrades since December. Very kind of, I retreated back into my own space, my own energy, because I'd been doing that for a long time in the UK. And then when COVID kicked off, I started to do interviews and come out of hiding, you know, like a turtle. And then when I moved back to Ireland, I didn't realize it was going to happen, but I kind of retreated back into my own space and my own energy. And I've had a lot of shifts and a lot of downloads and a lot of upgrades in myself, but also my work is changing. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. We're shifting up a gear or 2 or 3 or 4 and having more awareness, having more understanding, reaching new heights or new depths, having downloads and upgrades, and just understanding things on a much deeper level about myself, about who I am and why I'm really here. And there seems to be different levels to it. When I first realized who I was and why I was here, way back when, I thought that was it. But there's more, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And I think that's the same for the collective. I think collectively we are both the awake and the aware and the unawake. I think we are on this journey of evolution and self-discovery. And I think that sometimes when, and this would be where moons come in as well, I think with the astrological side of things, that we do go through ups and downs and shifts and roundabouts and evolution, and we're in the process of that now. And I'll just leave it there because I could just talk and talk.
No, this is so awesome because you know, there's so many people coming online right now, and when I say that, I mean just, you know, some people are just now having like massive spiritual awakenings, and it's kind of shocking because you feel like you're going crazy and you're like, what is going on with me? I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things. Suddenly I know all of this stuff, and it's like, where did it come from? And holy cow, what do I do with it? You know, and now that I'm online, like, oh gosh, you know, I've got to talk about this, and how do I talk about this? And so I'm witnessing that happening more and more and more. And so what's great about, you know, the offering here is for people, anyone that's kind of, looking and seeking and having experiences, and amongst ourselves here as well, we're all through this, continuing our journey and ascensions as well. And so just getting a chance to tune in and get together and just talk about, where are we at and what is going on and how do we get through these energies. And, it's different for all of us. So, how do we support each other and nurture each other and, continue this walk of love. And so, I just, this last month was, it was the butterfly moon. So it was about change and transformation and healing. And I was really happy I gave myself the gift of just going into my little chrysalis and, just kind of processing and ingesting my walk and my, whatever's coming in for me and being in the silence. And then I feel like we literally just bursted out of our chrysalis and our wings are now in this beautiful sunlight in this warm breeze. And we're, our wings are drying and we're taking flight as these new, beautiful messengers of God, as we're walking in our wisdom. And so here we are, we've crossed into this 6th dimensional moon energy. And it can be whatever it resonates for you. Some people call this the flower moon. For us, I believe in this circle, most of us would consider this the tree moon. And we work with these laws of creation. We have an opportunity to use the symbology and the messages that come through with these star teachings to really work with the universe and Mother Earth at the same time, as well as anybody else choosing to work with this information to really become even more conscious and to do even deeper healing and to step more fully into our mission and really walk living out loud in who we are. And so I love this moon, this tree moon, because it's the gate of truth. And like we were speaking about last month, the rich topic of healing and how each person can have their own definition of healing and what healing can be and what it looks like and the process of it. We can also have a very, very rich conversation about truth. And so I am excited to explore this concept with everyone here. And just to share a little bit, there's a virtue, there's a test, there's a gate of each moon cycle. And this test for this month is, it's in our Father's house, there are many mansions, thus prepare soul for his coming. And so when I hear that test, it gives me the perspective of how expansive we are. If we contain many mansions within ourselves, we have so much that we can tap into within ourselves to express that. And truth being one of them. So all of these virtues that we work with each moon cycle, they all lead to the center pole, which is the heart, which is love. And so for me, truth is really an expression of your heart. And it can change. It can change moment by moment. It can change minute by minute, day by day, hour by hour, depending on how we're feeling. And we can also recognize what's in our external environment as how it's influencing us and how it's feeling and expressing itself. And so, the saying goes, one man's truth is another man's lie, and one man's lie is another man's truth. And so it leads us to be in this place of discernment and really tuning into our own internal compass and internal guidance to really decide for ourselves what is the truth. And so I figured that's a good launching pad, and I'll just kind of open it up. And if it's okay, I'll just kind of feel who's ready to dive in on this topic and we'll go from there. So I'm feeling Melanie. What do you have to say? Oh, you're on mute again.
I have to remember that. That's interesting. I'm just kind of rolling these words around that you shared, a rich share. And I'm feeling into what's present for me right now, which is after the butterfly moon, I felt very clearly this impulse to fast. And so I'm in my 5th day of fasting, and I started with this new moon. And I think it being an eclipse as well, where we get this opportunity to really process or integrate a piece of our shadow, really spoke to me. And I wanted the clarity and I wanted the truth, so that I could get to the root of this piece of my shadow that I've been working on for, it seems like, since I was in my 20s, and I'm just, I'm so ready to weave this being into myself. So I guess this moon for me, like I said, in the symbols book, it's Chinupa, which is equality. And then the inverse symbol of that is the symmetry. And that's where Eagle comes in and talks about the remembrance and talks about the fasting and talks about, going into the cave and really working with that energies and remembering who you are. So I really feel that I'm in that moment in time right now. And just to witness also the magic that when you're in that kind of internal depth eclipse process, how much you can really be in relation. We can always be in relation with everything around you, but I guess when I'm fasting, it just feels so much more clear and more intense. Yesterday, I was sitting by this lake outside of Mount Isa. I'm traveling across Queensland at the moment, and I know Mount Isa is it's a pretty industrial city. It's got an open uranium mine pool that's like, it's just got this really awful energy. But outside of Mount Isa, there's this gorgeous lake that I've always wanted to go to. So I went and sat by this lake and I did a Kundalini yoga practice and I was doing my work, and these peacocks, I had 3 female peacocks come and with their babies, 3 babies, preen while I was doing my work. They're sitting there preening for almost an hour with me, just surrounding me. They just must have felt safe, or I don't know, but I was just reveling in it as I was like, okay, you want to work with me today? And in my Kundalini yoga practice, when I was balancing my yin and yang, here come the male peacocks. So there's 2 males, a female, and the baby just hanging out with me while I was doing my practice. I'm just like, this, you cannot make this up. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's, I guess, the truth. When you talk about truth, it's just like the presence and really witnessing this interconnectedness is where I'm at in my heart in this moon.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mm.
Yeah, this is such a great topic. And I'm feeling Lelie wants to jump in next.
Well, I guess where I am right now is the true history of Earth. So when I was going away for the spring equinox, I was going through my papers and pages for things that I wanted to share with other people. And I came across Robert Morningsky. And I didn't have time to look at the papers that were in front of me. And so I said, okay, I'm going to look at them later. Came back from equinox and I got a chat message from a friend with the symbols that were on the I-beams from the Roswell crash and the other crashes. And I shared this with Jen, and I've got it on the blog post. And so I started asking where it came from, and I found the person that posted it on social media and ended up on this wiki UFO site, and there was Robert Morningsky. So I started looking at the Terra papers and his information and videos and everything, and it's still going. But I feel like one of the things that I'm really wanting to know is, what are the Orion Wars? Are they still going on? When did they start? What is the real history of planet Earth? And we know that the symbols came to help us at this time, especially the universal law of free will. And so I feel like it's all coming full circle. And here we are between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. And so I feel like all of these truths are being presented now, having to discern, but finding these answers finally through the Hopi, mostly through the Hopi. And the Hopi, there are a lot of Native American tribes who sent their history verbally. And so the Hopi were known for that, and the Hopi prophecies, and the information was all verbal. And so once again, we're back to the grandfathers who were there during these crashes, who actually met a star person, and that star person shared the history of Earth. And so it's all coming in. And it's just, I'm spinning, trying to ground it all, but it's beautiful in this symmetry. And even the other day, I was talking to a woman who kept seeing the 1111, and I was talking to her about it, and I wanted to share a video, and I found another video that had the Solar Arah connection. And in that video, they actually talked about Solar Arah and Grandmother Silver Star. And so here's that connection again, and that was January 11th, 2012. And so it was talking about Solar Arah and the 1111, and then going into 2012. So and I posted it at 1111. So you can't make this up. It's just incredible. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like drinking from a fire hose. And anytime you want to share, throughout the group, I mean, I would love to, some of the things that you have sent me have definitely sent me down my own rabbit hole. And just those Terra papers, reading one page out of how many ever pages, 200 plus pages. I mean, it was just like, holy crap, this is so spot on with everything that is going on right now. And
exactly.
Where has this been? Like, wow, how does this person know all of this? And thank God it's coming to light. So, I mean, it's just so fascinating how much truth is really evolving in it. So it's almost like we have to unknow our what we've been taught, so that we can really truly remember, what's really going on. And yeah, I mean, it's fun, but yet at the same time, it's like, there's not enough hours in the day.
And I can't do this all myself. So I've posted it on Knowledge from the Stars, and Knowledge from the Stars is the messages from the star people and the grandmothers. And so, it's not for me, it's to share. And I'm trying to get the messages out wherever I can. So it's called Another 1111 Rabbit Hole. And I started putting it together this morning, and I'm getting even more. Every time I work on it, I get even further, I get even more. And people that I don't even know are helping bring it together, because they don't know what, we don't know the bigger picture, but we know it all has to do with these symbols in so many ways. And the beautiful thing was, they found the symbols in the crash, and they didn't know anything about it. They were trying to put it together. And when they did put it together, it was upside down and backwards. But in Greek, it's spelled freedom. So I love how no matter what, it still comes up freedom. It's beautiful in the way that it has been presented to us.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like this, it's such a testament that love and freedom wins.
Yes.
So we're doing this. We are doing this. And Soma, I know you've been, in your space, and, you talked a little bit about just, kind of, finding more new levels of healing within yourself. And so we would love to hear more about what it's like for you, and what your whole, maybe a take on truth is today.
Wow, where do I start, Jenny? Well, I'm a channel for the Pleiades, and I have been since a child, but it was through trauma that caused me to leave my body and connect with them. And I always used to have these dreams of being in Native America, and I had this sister, and then the white men came and they burned everything to the ground. And when I was 17, I met my sister from this dream that was called Michelle. And we're not in touch anymore, but she used to tell me she used to not have dreams, but she used to remember being in a teepee in Native America. And as soon as I met her, I knew it was her. I knew she was my sister. And so I've always had this connection, but more of a longing to be back there in those times. So yeah, I've had a very traumatic childhood, and through that I connected to the Pleiades. And most of my life I've been very ungrounded, more in the spirit world than here. And the last week I've had some real big shifts. I mean, major shifts for me personally, because yes, I don't like calling myself a spiritual teacher, but I do teach stuff spiritually. And I do channel the Pleiadians, and I do all this way out, beautiful stuff that's way out there. And yet I still struggle with my own personal life. And I think a lot of people don't realize that we go through it too. You know, we have days when we don't want to get out of bed. We don't want to do Zooms. We don't want to teach. We don't want to do anything. We just want to be still and be silent and be by ourselves. And we go through shit stuff. You know, we're not perfect. We're not on pedestals, or we shouldn't be put on pedestals. And I've put other people on pedestals as well. So, but one major thing I've always struggled with my whole life is being grounded and being here and being physical, because I'd rather be out there somewhere else. But I've had a major shift the last couple of days, and it's so most of my life I've gone out and been in a different space, in a different frequency, and very connected spiritually, but also very ungrounded. And lately what I've had an awareness or a shift or been shown is that rather going there, I need to be there and pull in that energy in myself and in the world, and be in that space. So that's 2 or 3 days I've been doing that, and that's very new to me. But it's major shifts. And I think that it's tied into astrology, and I think it's tied into the evolution period, the ascension that we're going through at the moment. I think we're all going through stuff. I'm not special or unique in any way. I'm go through stuff like all of us here and the audience. So I think we need to be kind to ourselves. I think we need to be gentle. I think that we are in a very physical evolutionary period of humanity. I think we are changing. Our hair, our skin, our teeth, our DNA, our cells, our blood. We are changing into new humans. And that may take my generation and the next and the next and the next. But we're in it now. This is the process. And it involves the negative agenda have kickstarted us to propel forwards. And so they're actually a positive thing. And I actually see the negative agenda in a positive way, because they're forcing us to do something in a very lightning speed that would probably take us a lot longer. So they've ignited us, they've ignitioned us to propel forwards. If anyone listening would like to know more about being grounded or trauma, I'm here to help, you know. And if you're not drawn to me, then seek someone else, you know, but just move forward.
Thank you, Soma. I think a lot of us can really probably relate to wanting to be, you know, out there, especially when the world seems so chaotic and so divided, and like our spiritual connection is so soothing, and it's kind of a nice escape. But at the same time, we're physical beings needing to have a physical reality. And so how do we integrate what we're getting on that spiritual level and, you know, put the tires to the pavement, so to speak, and really walk and embody what it is that we're actually receiving. And so, you know, it's definitely a huge integration process. especially with so many things coming online for so many of us, and really not knowing what to do with it, and definitely triggering, aspects of ourselves that aren't healed or just need another look for the next layer. And that's one of the reasons I love hanging out with Lelie so much, because she's the grounder, and she's always giving that reminder to ground. And so in fact, that reminds me too, because I was hoping to have you share more about that too, Lelie, just some of your grounding techniques. And just because we all need to do that. And I'm I think I've been levitating for some time now, and it's time to okay, get back down to earth here. You got stuff to do. But before we jump back over to you on that, Lelie, let's go ahead and have Zoe Ann share what's coming in for her right now around truth and just what's happening in your general reality.
So naturally, I was off my food for about 4 or 5 days, and I was forcing myself to at least get 1 meal in a day because my body was transmuting very, very fast, almost to feeling like an 11-year-old child. My body sort of just shrunk down. And some really symbolic messages coming through. It felt like it was a real closing of doors, of bringing up that exposure of truth of what you may possibly have still been carrying around in the past. So that really that opportunity to bring them into closure and to let them go. The message, it's done, it's done. All the trauma, all of the things that have been coming up, that closing of doors, that real, that sigh of relief from it. And I noticed that there were a lot of old people bumping into my life, old lovers, old interactions. And that was an opportunity to express my truth and to clear the air of whatever needed to be clear. So again, it's coming into expressing through the heart, which when we do that, we start activating the many cells that we have within our heart of our full potential that we've not fully been accessing. I had some weird experiences. We talk about the butterfly moon. Well, Saturday night, which was the eclipse, there was a bang in my kitchen, and I would normally go and investigate. And I was like, no, I actually need to sleep, because I was only sleeping 3 hours, waking up, meditating, grounding, going back to sleep. And in the morning when I got up, I was awoken by my phone ringing with some really weird message from someone that I know at 4:40. I looked out the window, I looked up at the sky, and I was like, oh, the Pleiadians are communicating with me. And then I saw 2 really close stars, what I thought were stars, and it was actually the conjunction. It was the Venus, the Jupiter, Mercury, and the Pleiades, all the conjunction. And I sat there looking at it, and then I went downstairs and investigated. And the picture was actually a picture that my son drew 10 years ago of a butterfly. And he's putting the favorite part of the transformation is when the butterfly spreads its wings. And the glass pane had cracked in half into 2 pieces. And the 2 pieces were the exact same size as the 2 wings. One was bigger, one was smaller. So what I got from that was, for many of us, we've gone through these all of us, metamorphosis of the chrysalis and the butterfly and the chrysalis and the butterfly. And I was like, oh, the glass cracking. And then I saw this vision of, how you can feel like a butterfly that's up on a wall and you're in a glass box. And it was the cracking of the glass that it's really time for freedom now. Like, we've been spreading our wings, but we've still been mounted on a box, on a wall somewhere, and not really shifting forwards. And even if I'm speaking now, more's downloading. yeah, and this beautiful connection with the Pleiades. And I messaged my beautiful friend Tony, who's Native Indian, Native American, and we're chatting. And then I start channeling light language for him. And we have these beautiful, it's what's coming through. It's about connection. And it's having these connections of what we're bringing in right now and in our community. And it's huge, the transformations in the body, our potential to be able to access. Our DNA has been going through massive transmutation, and the synchronicities, the messages are really, really key. So yeah, I've been getting on the earth a lot, grounding, laying on the rock, standing on the rock, weaving with the wind, weaving with the codes of my body, and doing that more and more. So rarely not speaking, a speaking tongue, speaking light, and allowing that translation to come through. So it really feels, there's a lot of distractions, and rather than seeing, oh, there's distractions, it's like, how can I ignite and shine even brighter so others can, without telling them, they naturally just start to see where to look, where to guide. So that's what's been happening. And thankfully, I don't feel like an 11-year-old body now. My body, I'm starting to get a bit of a bottom again, because I was like, what is going on? And people are messaging me, and my friend Tony said it. He said, you're like one of those, I'm only 5'3" and something. And he's like, but you're like 30 feet tall. So like energetically wise, our energy is like, we're in these little containers and we're transmuting and transforming. It's exciting. And being grounded in that as well, and being okay with saying that. As we're walking trees, connected. This is our doorway. That's it.
Oh my God, that's powerful. Such a great share. And like my brain's firing off in so many different directions with the cracked glass and, just the transformation and, the cracking of the glass. And when you brought up the shadows, Melanie, and, it takes me to this time, when I was sun dancing last summer, we were getting our tree for our ceremony, and the tree fell and it broke. And it was kind of just a shocking, surreal moment, because, it's like, wow, how do you process that? And for some, it's automatically the Sundance is just done. Like you don't proceed any further. And the tree has spoken, it's cracked. But the message that came directly to me from that tree was that this is the time that it's the holy path. The only path is the holy path. And so when you read about Chinupam and teaching of the tree, there's the fork in the tree, and each fork represents what you could say is a choice. So there's two paths. You can choose one or the other. One is the holy path, and it is the path of being in service. It is the path of complete abundance and prosperity and love and unity. And the other choice, the other path, is the old path. It's the path of challenge. It's the path of surviving. It's the path of lack and service to self. And within those areas, that's where you tend to see people, in their shadows, and it's competitive, it's toxic, it's fear-based. But that time is done. And so to honor the break in the tree, to honor the crack in the glass, to honor the shadow, and consciously choose to take a new path, which is potentially completely mysterious and unknown, but just having the utter and total faith to take those steps forward on that path and trust that everything that is, it's all there for us to receive. Everything we need is here. We just have to trust it, and it comes from that deep knowing. And so, I don't know, you just all have so many little puzzle pieces and clues that are, sparking for me So I want to bring it back over to you, Lelie, because I know, you have some amazing techniques for how you ground. And if you could share just more about some ways that we can increase our abilities to stay strong and in the light, but also really present in this reality.
Well, when I started with the star knowledge, I started traveling with Standing Elk and Pathfinder and Silver Star, and we would go to Sedona and we would go to different places and do teachings. And one of my jobs was to be the grounder. And I am an earth sign, I'm a Capricorn. So I'm very connected to the earth. And what Eagle would do, and it was difficult because I've been intuitive since I was a child, but I never worked with the star energies. And as you all know, the star energies are really potent and powerful and really strong. And so trying to ground star energies into the physical body is difficult, but also trying to ground the room, trying to ground messages was really difficult for me. I felt like a yo-yo, especially when we're talking to some of the, I would say, stronger star people, but that's not really the right word. High frequency would probably be better, or multidimensional. So what Eagle would do is he would give me a pair of elk teeth and tobacco, and he would have me hold that. And that was how I grounded the ceremony, the teaching, and grounded to channel in the messages from the stars. So about a year ago, 2 years ago, a friend of mine was out in the national forest, and he found an elk and gifted me a pair of elk teeth. So I carry them in a medicine pouch in my pocket. And that's how I go through every day, is I have those elk teeth and the tobacco in a pouch. And I know those of you that are not in this area, it would be difficult for you to find the elk teeth. So I would say find a stone. You could use hematite, you could use onyx, you can use the grounding stones, and make a medicine pouch for yourself with the stone you choose and tobacco, and keep that on yourself or in your pocket or just on your altar with you when you are meditating, and find what resonates with you, and you'll find that it's going to help you center more. It's also important, I think we're all being called back to nature, and I live outside of town. I live around a lot of trees and a lot of nature. And that's really helped me because I'm very sensitive. It's hard for me to be in a city or in an apartment building. So I would say when you can, connect to the trees, because the tree message is ascension, and it's our path of ascension up the tree. But also we were taught by Chief Golden Light Eagle that the grandmother tree, who she's behind Jen in that beautiful picture, she connects to all trees on this planet. And so every day I connect to her, and I ask to connect to her and all of the trees. So the trees have that root system, and so they help to connect us to the earth. So I would say, if you use the stones, if you set the intention in those stones that you're asking for help with grounding, because the stones, they need to be given, their purpose, with you at this time. So that's the main thing. And just, take your shoes off and walk in the grass and walk in the dirt, and spend time in the garden, or if you can't have a garden, then a container plant, just spend time with nature in whatever way you can. And I think that would really help.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember when I was in Dublin, Ireland, I wanted to be out in nature, and it was like there was not a stone or a pebble, or I can't even really remember any trees to go connect to. Everything was concrete, asphalt, and built up. And so what do you have an opportunity, Soma, to be like near trees and with your feet in the grass?
I do, Jen, because I'm about 3 hours from Dublin. I'm in County Galway, in a little village that is lovely. It's beautiful. It's on the bay, and there's trees, and there's a stone circle up the road, and there's a castle, and I'm next to the Burren, which is a beautiful kind of very dry landscape. But yeah, I'm in a beautiful place, and I do get out to nature. There's lots of trees here. Some of them are very, very small, but there's a stone circle about 2 minutes up the road. So I'd like to spend more time up there. But I love trees. I've always been able to connect to trees, and yeah, it was the tree actually that gave me the name Soma. I don't know if I told you, but I was meditating one day when COVID first kicked off, and I was hugging the tree, and the tree gave me the name Soma. And it was quite funny because the police walked by, and I was aware that someone was there watching me, and I opened my eyes, and it was actually a policeman asking me if I was okay. And so I said, yes, I'm just meditating, and they were fine. They just carried on about their day. But yeah, it was the tree that gave me the name Soma. So where is the tree behind you, Jen? Is it a grandmother tree you were saying, Elizabeth?
Yeah, so this is, it's known now in this lifetime as Devil's Tower, and it's located near Gillette, Wyoming. So we were fortunate enough to spend time doing Vision Quest here, and just really being able to return to the sort of original ceremonies, if you will, by spending time with her, because we've come to know her as a tree. So there's all this, here we're talking about truth, and it's been hidden. They're calling this like this ancient volcano, inactive volcano, but really truly, I mean, it's a petrified tree, and it goes against everything that we've been taught because it's so ginormous. And so, we've spent time with her, and we asked her what she would like to really be known as in this lifetime, because she's had many, many names. But when you give something a name with either devil in it, or the devil's backbone, or devil's gulch, there's something really, really powerful there that they're trying to hide. And so she wants to be known right now, and she told us that her name is, it's Makazatomnia Machpia Tiopowi, which translates to Celestial Portal of Creation Woman. So she's an epically powerful placeholder on this planet, and which I feel connects deeply to the teachings of the 1313 influences as well, because she holds all the Akashic knowledge of time for 200 plus million years. And so one of the things that's so exciting coming up is because it's so cool that you both have been fasting, and I too was going to fast during this butterfly moon, but it's like, no, I need to go fast with grandmother tree. So I'm planning to go back at the time when traditionally natives of the land would gather here at this spot for summer solstice and hold ceremony. And so there's a little bit of a kind of pilgrimage that we're going to be on to go out there at that time to anchor in that ceremony again, and do our work, and tune into what is needed to be heard right now. What's the truth that needs to be revealed? Because there's just so much information ready to be shared from her. And I've only fasted there 3 times, but it's every time I go, I'm always blown away by what is shared and what is revealed. And so it's been a huge part of my journey and my spiritual awakening, just connecting with her. And so that was kind of a little rabbit hole that Brian and I were down over the weekend, was these giant trees. And, so much has been just, I don't know, I hate to say like just removed, but, there's a lot of history that's been deleted. And even just the whole fact of petrification, they've taught us that it takes 200 million years to petrify a tree so that they can line up their story that all of that happened at the time of the dinosaurs. Well, that's actually false. I mean, petrification can actually happen in a year or less, and it's been proven. They found a boot with a human foot in it that was petrified, and it was from 50 years ago.
Mm.
You know, and so, you know, you don't find this on Google, and, you know, who knows what'll happen just by talking about this, you know, how long this video might stay up, you know, just by talking about grandmother tree. Oh no, that's not a tree, you're crazy, you know. So it's like, it's just fun to explore this idea, especially around the idea of truth, because you can feel it. And that's a big part of what we were talking about earlier, is, you know, truth is the heart. And when you come to this beautiful place and you look, you're like, it's a tree. So it's pretty powerful. And there are many of these around the earth. And shiprock is another one that I just recently learned. You know, shiprock is a giant stump, and there's a ridge that leads away from shiprock that's 4 miles long. And that is the actual tree. And that's what's left of it. So if you can imagine over time, you know, like if it's still 4 miles long, how big was this tree at one time? And so, you know, as we're moving out of Piscean energy and moving into Aquarian energy, I feel like so many of us ladies are feeling that pull to reconnect with that remembrance of these giant, you know, whatever they are, rock formations, trees, you know, things of the earth that, you know, that hold so much wisdom for us, because this ascension is all about reawakening your DNA. It's a reawakening your cellular memory. And this tree, I mean, all the rings of the tree are exactly what we are. We're all these, you know, every year we gain new knowledge, we gain our wisdom. And at the center of it is our heart. It's the point of creation. And so this is all about getting back to source. And we have to do this work. We have to work on ourselves to do the remembering. So I kind of rambled there. Thank you for listening. And yeah, who else wants to share more? We've got a little more time.
I have something I want to jump in and share. And it feels like it weaves a lot of what we're talking about together. I'm inspired by Soma, you're, you know, bringing your spirit into the body. And, you know, as we're talking about remembering and we're talking about grounding these higher codes and these star codes, it's like, yeah, that is the work. That is the work that I'm engaging in right now. And I think we're all kind of engaging in. It's about remembering our highest soul frequency, our highest star knowing, and being able to bring it into the body. And what happens when that happens is our DNA gets activated. It is when we start shedding all this toxic, you know, and old story, or not even old story, just false story. Like it's not even, it's not real, it's not true, it's part of the illusion. So that starts pushing out, and it's just happening so much faster. It's so palpable how much we're just, okay, that's done, it is gone, it's out now. And how much light is coming in right now. It's really miraculous. And you talking about grandmother tree reminds me about that site, and also Bighorn Medicine Wheel, which I was thinking about yesterday, and wanting to go back there to that stone circle at 10,000 feet. And, you know, just the downloads that we have available to us right now, just all these points on the planet that, you know, these vortexes, there's 144,000 meridian points in our body. There's 144,000 vortex points on the planet. Each one has information highways for us, you know, and I feel so inspired. Again, thank you, Jen, for continuing these calls, because it's always like I walk away just like, more full and more inspired and more energized and ready to do more work. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's, it helping you to remember also, when we're talking about the tree, how important the sun is. And we're in this huge eclipse window right now. The new moon brought in the solar eclipse, but then the full moon's going to be a lunar eclipse. And, it's the sun that, the sun is so active right now as well, just blasting all this incredible energy and photon love into the universal cosmos. And the sun is just such a representative of initiation. Without it, we don't have a way to live. And I don't know, I see that there's so much energy and so much light that's coming to us from the sun. And it was almost like a vision, but how, when if you have wet ground and you stick an electric plug into the dirt, you'll see the worms start to come out of the ground. Like they can't stay in the ground. So it's just like the darkness can't hide anymore. So there's just so much being flushed out that has to either dry up or wash away. And, everything's going to be coming out into this amazing light, good or bad. And Mother Earth is just ascending so quickly, and thank God she has amazing people to work with her and do their work and their own ascension, so that we can hold the vibration and be the bridge to ground the energy that is coming from the sun to us, through us, into Mother Earth. And so, we have to remember, like, this is a big job. And it's like, time for being pussy is done. Like, you gotta
warrior,
own it. And so, like, be solid in where you're at, however you are. If you're a complete mess on the floor and crying because you don't know what the hell's going on, just go with it. Right? Like, this is the time to just honor everything that we're experiencing as a human, so that we can move through it and flow, have the contraction expansion experience, so that we can land back on our feet and keep going. And so, it's like, there's a lot of things going away, and, you might find yourself in a new circle. And letting go of the old circle might not be so easy because of all the other voices in your head and things that you've committed to. And, it's just like, the time for new truth is now. And it's myself that will only tell me and guide me to get there. And so I've been giving myself permission to just be me, however that is today, or this hour, or this 5 minutes. And like, it's fun. It's rugged, but I'm feeling so much more empowered in my own truth. So I know, Zoe, you wanted to say something there. What do you have?
No, I just wanted to let everyone know we have this beautiful compression. You're talking about the sun, and we're talking about the earth, and we have those moments, yes, where we fall down, we unravel, and then we stand back up. We stand up, we're grounded. And that's what we need to remember. Feet on the ground, crown towards the sky, stand up as the walking trees, because this compression, we're each processing, right, to be that conduit between, as the remembrance of heaven and earth, which is within the heart, to be those star walkers, to guide others to that path. And each diamond always needs this massive, massive compression. Same with the other aspects that are playing out, the dark aspects. We can't separate. It's all to assist us to come into harmony even faster, as this, it's strengthening our power of resilience. It's super exciting. And yes, like you said, Jen, like showing up and being yourself, and this real returning to innocence and this playfulness and this curiosity of the great mystery that we are leaping into. That's it.
Amazing. Wow. Well, as always, I'm sure we could talk for 10 more hours. And this hour really flew. So just to honor everybody and wherever we're at on this 3D timeline, let's just go around, and if you have one last parting message for this moon cycle, please share what that might be, but also just let us know how we can find you, whether if you have a website, web page, Facebook page, how people can search you out in case they would like to speak with you more. So I'll turn it over to you, Lelie, and we'll just go around from there.
So right now, knowledgefromthestars.com is what I'm really wanting to share with people. And just remember to follow that synchronicity, because we're getting those messages and songs and dreams and numbers, and just follow it, see where it goes. Thank you.
Awesome. Melanie?
Yeah, my website is Star Body Earth. It's still under construction, but I have some exciting offerings coming up. I'm going to teach an Earth Activations course, which is building your own authentic ceremony work on the land, using heart coherence and all the sacred tools. I am putting together a couple Earth activation tours in the next year and a half. So in November, we'll be in Nepal, and in February, we'll be in Egypt, which is really exciting. That's all just magically weaving and coming together. I still have to update the website around that. But yeah, lots to come. Star Body Earth is the website, and you can find me on Facebook, Star Body Earth, as well.
Fabulous. Thanks for being here. Soma, how can folks find you?
Well, my work is also changing, and so I've got several things in process, but you can find me on Facebook, Soma Arah, and my website is thepleiadianchild.com, and my email is thepleiadianchild@hotmail.com. I've managed to have a lot of difficulties with technology since when I moved to Ireland. So I haven't been able to, I've lost my email list. So I haven't been able to email people since, I think it was December last year. So if you did sign up to my website, to my newsletter, please re-sign. What else would I like to say? Yeah, I've got several things coming up. I'm changing the way I teach. And I'm in Ireland. So if you're listening and you're in Ireland, please do connect in with me and check out my website and my Facebook, and sign up for my website, for my newsletter, because I do have several new things coming up. And yeah, just go shine. Go shine, go shine.
Thank you, Soma. Zoe Ann, how can we get in touch with you?
So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Zoe Anna Bell. My website's zoe-anna.com. Got some exciting things coming up for those in Sydney or Australia. I've got some workshops on self-love and acceptance for really assisting people through letting go, shifting, grieving, and remembrance. Yes, and like my work is constant, I'm exploring new things, bringing more movement in, which is loaded with codes. Even by simply watching something, it will activate something within you. And my healings have really changed as well. So no matter where people live, they can tune in and access the divinity healing. So yeah, it's exciting. That's it.
Wonderful. And for me, you can find me on Facebook, Jennifer Crystal Eve. I also have my website, EdenArising.com. And I am really excited to be helping people on shadow coaching journeys. So if you're interested in being brought some tools to help with your ascension and dealing with the aspects of ourselves that we tend to reject and ignore and hide, and you want to be living out loud in your full light, I love helping people with their shadow work. So I do a healing your heart coaching and breakthrough shadow coaching. You can find out more about that on my website, EdenRising.com. Also looking forward to spending time with anybody that would like to join in the Galactic Goddess Zoom call coming up closer to the full moon. So we're going to really dive in deeper into this topic with the truth gate and all that comes with the energies of equality. And it's a super full moon, so that's going to be really fun. So I'll put that all in the links below the video. And just wishing you all a beautiful time out in nature with the sun and the trees, and just give yourself permission to just be you this month. Much love, and we will see you next time on Moons of Ascension. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna, let's see.